Hi John, Sean here for Datastructures CA3. I'm just going to talk you through my plan first of all. My plan was from the start just to make kind of a Pokemon-y ripoff. So I called my game Monster Royale. It's just a spitballed name really. And in it you pick a star monster that will accompany you through the game. You can name your monster and they can level up and change form to become more powerful. And if they get badly injured, so pretty much when their health hits 0 you can't continue any further and you have to go back to the last city, which is a checkpoint. The enemies are other owners of monsters, so it's pretty much, Pokemon battling. And they level up at a similar level to yours, so they'll generally be within 3 levels either side of your monster. And yep, the attacks have different strengths and weaknesses, and depending on the type of the using and opposing Pokemon, monster, and they have different strengths and accuracies as well. I didn't have time to implement that though, the strengths and accuracies or the type-based attack moves. And they were supposed to have status elements as well, so a chance to confuse or burn or poison. I also didn't get a chance to instantiate those. The starters, the 3 starters you can choose from that have all been implemented, is the fire starter Virix, which is a fox based monster that's fire. Generally its attacks would have a higher chance of inflicting burn on their opponents, and since it's fire, I wanted it to be quick and agile and highly unstable, so it can evolve or change its form quicker and more often than the others. The water starter is Aquail, and it's a water eagle. It uses water attacks to confuse its foes, so I would have used it to disorientate. And yeah, I had it so since it's water, it would be flowing and calm, and so it would be less susceptible to status ailments. And then the earth or grass starter is Anarok, which is an earth or grass spider based monster. It would use earth attacks to inflict status ailments, so that would be its thing. It would mainly inflict status ailments, and it would be a wall, so it has a lot higher defense but a lot lower speed and attack than every other one. Yeah, whereas the Virix is higher attack, higher speed, and Aquail is more of a balanced one, so it'd probably be best for beginners. The map, which I didn't get time to implement either, was going to consist of a grid-based system. You're going to start in the bottom left-hand corner, and the final city would be in the top right-hand corner. And between them, there would be other cities at certain intervals, because they act as checkpoints and heal points, and also that's where merchants would reside. And in between the cities there would be just wildlands where you battle trainers and wild monsters. And the classes that I've implemented are the player class, which is the monster class. Which inherits from the monster class. And I have it so to be the same as the monster class because both the player and the enemies will be represented by a monster. However, because of the possible need for different functionality, I've decided to separate the classes, and I used inheritance for it. The player inherits from monster, and the player will have a class, so the actual type of monster that you chose, a level, a sum of gold, a limited inventory, a position, a health, an XP, stats, and a status. The item class was going to apply to all items in the game, but I didn't get time to implement it. They were going to be single-use items. They were going to be pick-upable, droppable, and saleable, and they would have a value and an effect, and then a rarity. So you could drop them depending on the rarity, or you could have them appear in the game depending on their rarity. The enemy class is similar to the player class. They inherit from monster also, except it has a class level, a bounty, which is the gold and experience you get from killing an enemy, a health, a status, and stats, which are its statistics. And the monster class is the base class for the enemies in the player. It contains the base stats from the different classes of monsters. It gives you the stats gained upon level up and the experience at the next level, and the stat boosts from a form change, class weaknesses, resistance, and move lists. So that's my plan, and then I'm just going to talk through my code now. The monster is most important in my eyes since it's the base class. So I have my inclusion guards, my includes, my usings, and then I have my class declaration, which has all virtual methods in it, since I wanted to inherit a lot of these methods. Well, I wanted them to be inheritable, and I wanted to be able to use polymorphism. And then I have my private variables. In the CPP, I've just implemented my methods. So I've got my set name, set class, set status, health, attack, defense, set speed, goal, level, form. Just add health, subtract health, add attack, and add defense. Things like that. And then in player, which is the second most important class because you are a player, you have my inclusion guards again, my includes, my usings. I'm not sure whether or not I could just inherit the usings from the monster, so I decided just to play it safe. I inherited I just included whatever I was going to be using in this. Here I'm pretty sure to say you do inheritance, class player, public monster, and then I've got the different methods, so the ones that aren't common to player, so to monster and player, the ones that just player has. So I've got the default and advanced constructors, save and load, which aren't implemented, the EXP, since I didn't really think that XP would be communal, as I have bounty for opponent as opposed to XP. Change form, because I didn't want the opponents will just have their monster will just be made with a different form, so it doesn't actually have to evolve right then and there, whereas yours actually has to evolve in front of your eyes. You've got the level up function, which once again the opponent won't level up. Grow, which is actually just telling it to change your form. The change form is all the flowery text involved with it, but the grow is just change your form up one level. Choose starter function, which is how you choose your starter at the start. It's got all the flowery stuff in it. Set experience, and your initialize, which is the beginning point where you ask them to set the start points. I then have also my variables, and then in CPP I have my includes, my variables for my methods. Then I have my enum here. That's for the choose starter method. Got my constructors, my setters and getters, and my adds. I've got initialize here, which is, it just tells you have this many points to spend, which is defaulted to 18, and tells you asks how much would you like to distribute, and then it says you have this many left. And then it starts by going, okay, taking in your input, how many you'd like to distribute to HP, taking that from the amount you have, which is the 18 to begin with, and if that's still greater than or equal to 0, you can add it, and then it does that for all of them. But however it hits below 0, then it says you've distributed too many, and try again. It loops back around, and you get to try again. For the level up, it just I have it here. If your experience is greater than or equal to the level experience, which starts at 100, and your get level is less than 2, then you level up. And the amount of points you get per level is equal to 9 plus your level. So it increases as you go up. So you get more stat points to spend as you get to a higher level. However, it gets harder to get to higher levels as you level up. And then it's just similar to the initialize. You just say you've leveled up, you've got this many points, and then how many would you like to distribute to health? You've got this many remaining. Asks, you put in how much you want to put to health, takes away from level points. If it's greater than 0, greater than or equal to, you add health or attack, and then if it drops below 0, just says sorry and gets you to loop back around. And then when you get to the bottom of the loop, you have the level experience. So when you level up at the end of the level, it adds 100 experience multiplied by your level. So you'll be level 2 at the first point, so it adds 200, so it'll take 300 experience to get to the next level, and it just keeps going up. And I know it'll get quite costly after a while, but generally the enemies level up with you, so you're getting higher experience anyway, so it shouldn't be too bad. And then add level just pluses 1 to the level up top. So here it says if it's less than 2, then it'll be if it's less than 3, or less than 4, or less than 5, and it just keeps going back around like that. Change form is pretty much the evolution function. It says if your class is equal to Virex, so that's the fire starter, it says whoa, he's changing form, press enter to continue. It sets his class to the next form, so Virexus. It gives him extra health, extra attack and extra defense and speed, and then says grow, which adds 1 to his to the form variable. And this is congratulations, he's leveled up and grown into a new class name, so Virexus. And then it says if he's a Virexus, you know, it changes form, but it returns here. So once it levels up once it changes form once, it kicks out of the loop, and then the next time you change form, it'll be, if he's a Virexus, then he levels up further to a Virexaga, and then he gets higher stat points again, and then once again a Virexair gets higher points. However, the fire starter is the only one with 4 forms. The water starter only has 3, and the same with the rock starter, he only has 3 as well. But it's pretty much the same thing, except they get just different stat points depending on what I wanted them to do. So he has more balanced stat points, the water one, and the rock one has higher health, lower attack, much higher defense, and lower speed. The choose starter function is what you go through at the start to choose your starter. It says, you know, do you want a Virex, an Aquail, or a Anorok? And then you choose 1, 2, or 3. Then it goes through them, and you can choose any of them, and it'll tell you a little bit about it. And then it asks, do you want this one? If you say no, it'll exit back out and you get to try again or choose again. If you say yes, it asks you want a nickname. Then if you say yes, you get the nickname. If you don't, it doesn't nickname it, and it just calls it by its type name, so Virex or Aquail or Anorok. And then it just sets its stats to the default stats for that class, and then it kicks out of the loop after calling the initialize, and that's where you get to just put your extra 18 points onto whatever you want. The opponent.h is, you know, you have your inclusion guards, your includes, your libraries. Using inheritance here again, it just has pretty much its 2 constructors, and defeat and bounty. Defeat is when it's defeated, it just adds its gold to your gold and adds its experience to your experience, and then puts its health to 0. And get bounty is just get its experience for the bounty at the end for adding it to your guy. And then I have them just instantiated here. So I have item.h and item.cpp, but they're pretty empty as I didn't get a chance to implement them. I really just I got swamped by my other projects in this CA, and I didn't get started till late. So I really didn't get much done, and I'm quite disappointed with that, because I would have liked to have gotten this to a higher standard. I think I'll probably continue this by myself, but I know you have to mark me on what I uploaded. So thank you for your time, John.